Welcome to the Northeast Kingdom Voice. I'm your host, Scott Wheeler. The Northeast Kingdom has a unique breed of people. We like to play together, we like to work together, and yes, sometimes we even like to fight together. But when the chips get down, we're often there for one another. Our guest today is Kurk Flynn, the chief of the Newport Center Fire Department. He is here to talk about a fundraiser that he's helping to spearhead. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So, what's your fundraiser you're hosting this time? Because you're not new to helping people.
No, this is something we're doing locally. One of my firefighter family, a gentleman who's been involved in the fire service for a long time, his house just went up in flames this past weekend, and it's very, very tragic, story. And the sad thing is this gentleman, his name is Charlie Roberts, not only lost his house, but back in February lost his child due to cancer. So it's just a sad, situation.
So he's just trying to get out of, one negative chapter of his life, and another thing really bad happens. How is he doing?
Charlie's doing very well. He's a very strong man. The community, not only the fire department, the fire service, but the community as well, has all been absolutely incredible, and we're all stepping up to the plate to help him. We can't replace anything that Charlie lost, with the memories and obviously his house, but we're here to just help him financially to get back on his feet, losing everything from clothes, everything, just to say, Charlie, you're one of us and we're going to take care of you.
So when the call came in, did you answer the call, or was it your men?
No, the call came in roughly around 11 o'clock at night, actually 11:04. We responded within 12 minutes on scene, and unfortunately the house was already fully engulfed.
So when a call comes in, do you know whose house it is?
Well, and in small town USA, especially Newport Center, everybody pretty much knows anybody. We're a close-knit community, and obviously they did say the resident's name when our tones went off. So it always, when we hear of a fire, it always makes us feel, oh boy, this is terrible. But when it's one of our own, it even adds to the feeling of what are we going to do and how are we going to do this? It makes it more of a family emergency.
And you kind of knew the backstory behind what he'd been going through. So when you got there on the scene and you saw the condition of the house, how did you feel?
When we got there on scene, obviously we had fire, heavy fire showing, and we had our mutual aid coming in. Troy was right behind us, thank God for mutual aid, and we worked together and we set up our priorities. And at the time, Charlie's son's urn was in one of the back rooms. So we kind of set our priority to get into this back room and get his urn, knowing that there wasn't much else we could do, but of the importance of the urn in there and stuff. So the firefighters, one captain from Troy Fire Department, Jeremy Rondo, two of my firefighters, my son Travis, who's just home from the Air Force on break before he goes to his first assignment base, and Pat Corkins did a truly heroic thing by knocking the fire down, going in and getting his urns, his ashes, and thankfully they were mostly intact.
Right. So what is going on for fundraisers right now?
Well, right now, between myself and the president of our association, we all refer to her as our boss, Colleen Percy, we put the call out. I've put the call out all over my Facebook pages. I have a lot of firefighters that are countrywide that I've worked with overseas, and New Hampshire and Maine and all that. I've put the call out on my Facebook to say, hey, fellow firefighters in desperate need, let's pull together. And Colleen has done the local side, saying, we're going to pull together, we want to do fundraisers, we want to bring in money, we can't replace things, but we want to help Charlie, and his whole family out as best we can.
Yeah, that's how I found out about the work you're doing, is through your Facebook site.
Yeah, it's a great way, and I have a lot of friends, like I've stated, a lot of my firefighters that I've dealt with in the past couple of years when you and I last talked in Iraq, we're really close, and all I have to do is put the call out, to them, and I know that they will all respond. Plus, locally, when one thing happens to a firefighter, it affects the whole, mutual aid in our area.
Now, although Charlie isn't currently a firefighter, his family members still are.
Correct. Charlie was a member for years, and he moved out of the area, and he came back. But his brother is a captain, been on the department a very long time, and his father, I think everybody knows, Steve Sr. He's a guy that I look up to. He's very intelligent, very smart, and he's one of us. And he was right there at the fire, and it was a very trying time for us all. But yeah, they've been, and also Noreen, Steve's wife, we're all, one big family when it comes to the fire department.
So when I started out the show, I talked about how the people of the Northeast Kingdom, we like to play together, we like to work together, and occasionally we like to slap each other upside the head. But when push comes to shove, don't you think we kind of rally around each other? At least we have groups that do, and there's always somebody there for you.
There's no doubt. This whole thing is, it's reached the whole community, the whole Northeast Kingdom, and we proved in the past with the Zach Vincent accident, where people have just come out and everybody's pitched in to help out. And when I teach a lot of fire classes and I talk fire to a lot of people, it's been my whole life, and I tell people that when firefighting, once it gets in your blood, it's always there, and you can't get rid of it. And there's a thing we always talk about, we call it the brotherhood of firefighting, and when something happens to one firefighter, it affects us all. So, when, unfortunately Doug James passed away, the chief from Jay Fire Department recently, the whole community, we're all involved, all the fire department locally, it affected us all. And this is the same situation where not only the fire departments have, said, hey, here we are, what can we do for you guys, what can we do for the Roberts family, but also the community. I've received messages from people that weren't even in the Northeast Kingdom that are saying, I want to make a donation, how do I do it, and all this stuff. So it's truly an amazing, area to live in when in time of need, people definitely come to the bat.
You mentioned Zach Vincent, and that was the last time I actually had you on my radio show then, but you weren't in the station at the time. You were over in Iraq fighting fires. Well, first of all, how did you happen to be in Iraq fighting fires?
It was just a job that was offered to me in a position that, I felt at the time was something that I should take part in. So I was over there, and I first heard about the accident from my son, who was very close with Zach, and my son was very upset. And of course, I knew the Vincent family very well. They're fantastic people. So, me not being there for my son, I sat back and said, what can I do? How can I help make my son feel a little bit better, but knowing the Vincent family, how can I help them out, because I'm not there to do it? So that was just the way I felt that I could help out and do it.
In that time, you rallied the firefighters in Iraq, while you helped rally the people home and firefighters from around the world. Of course, I don't think you'll accept all the credit. I'm sure you had a good group of people helping you.
Absolutely. That was just something that I felt that I had to do, but it was nothing with me. It was the social networking, the friends that I have, the people from our area in the Northeast Kingdom, like I said before, everybody stepped up to the plate. I just said, hey, let's do this, and that's all it took. Colleen Percy, like I said, she's our boss of the fire department, if you will, the president. She went to bat really hard. The community of Troy, everybody just steps right up, and nobody can take credit for something when we're trying to help somebody else out like that.
Right. So to the viewers, Zach Vincent was injured in a severe car accident, about a year ago?
I think it was probably more like 2 years ago.
He suffered a severe head injury, and he had a long, hard road to go. But how is Zach doing today?
Zach is doing absolutely tremendous. He's back to, 100%. He's I just happened to see his graduation picture from Vermont Technical College. I think he's got one more class to take, and then he'll actually be certified or have his fire science degree, and he is doing absolutely wonderful. Matter of fact, I'm almost positive that I saw him at this fire this past weekend, and I am so proud of Zach and very happy for his family. I know his family went through a tremendous ordeal, but doing very, very well.
So what did you do for him, or what did the firefighters do for him that was so helpful for he and the family?
Well, basically, not me, but everybody as a team, we all just put out there. There were some fundraisers. We raised money for them, and we gave the money to the Vincents to say, we know you're going to be traveling. There was a lot of travel for them, between their home and the hospital. And if anything, with the price of gas as the way it was going, it was to pay their gas bills because they were traveling every day back and forth. So it's our way to say, it's a little thing. I mean, if we could snap our fingers and make Zach better, by God, we'd be doing that in a heartbeat. But due to the situation, the money we raised would at least take care of the fuel and maybe a hotel room or two and some meals for him.
Right. So do you look forward to someday seeing him work full-time for a fire department if that's what he chooses to do?
Absolutely. Whatever Zach does is going to be, very successful for him. Zach has just got the great personality, and, Zach now knows what it's like to be on the receiving end of the emergency services, and I think that will make him a better firefighter than he already is. And Zach is a great firefighter now, so this will make him more situational awareness, if you will, and I think he will become a full-time firefighter somewhere, and he'll do a tremendous job. There's no doubt about it.
Now, before the show, you were talking about the bracelet you're wearing. Tell me a little bit about that, or tell the viewers a little bit about that.
Well, and I talk about the fire service and the brotherhood and all that, and this is what it means to me. When I was in the military, I spent some time over in Saudi Arabia, and a year before I got there, they had a bombing of the tower called the Khobar Towers, and a lot of people lost their lives in the military, and there were 6 firefighters that lost their lives in the military. And we had this was back in '97 when the bombing happened. So this bracelet I've had ever since, and it's in memory of the firefighters that lost their lives on the military side. And it's just my way of paying tribute to them.
Have you worn it ever since?
Yeah, it's always been with me.
So why do you think I have never been a firefighter. I believe my grandfather was way back in the history of Newport. But what is it that makes such a tight bond with firefighters? Is it kind of like being in because there's a similar bond to people who've also served in combat together. Is fighting a fire kind of like a combat situation?
Well, I don't want to talk about, compared to combat, because I, thank God, I've never been in a combat situation. I have many friends that have been in there. So I can't compare that to that, but what I can compare it to is when you go into a burning building with somebody, you're putting your life on the line for somebody, you may or may not know, but you have to go in with another person, and you have to count on each other so everybody goes home. Mm-hmm. And the amount of training that we do, the amount of time that we spend together, you develop a bond. And I always have this saying, and people look at me like I'm, a little different, but once it's in your blood, it's always there. And you have to have a special mentality to be a firefighter. Mm-hmm. I mean, how many people will go into a building when everybody's running out? Right. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So it's just it's a true, honest, feeling, and I look at some of the firefighters locally that have gone on to, being a career firefighter. I myself was a career firefighter. We have Phil Edgerly, who was a firefighter doing very well in Burlington, and we have a lot of people that have gone on. So it's definitely a great thing to get into. And once you're into it, I've got 2 sons now that are both certified Firefighter 2 firefighters, and one now is in the active duty military as a firefighter. Right. So it's.
I had Roger Goslin on my radio show, and he talked about being a young firefighter starting off on a volunteer basis, and then going to work, I believe it was South Burlington.
Yes, Roger. Matter of fact, I teach a rookie class here locally, and a lot of the firefighters that start out take that rookie class, and I've been teaching it for, I don't want to make this sound like I'm old, but I've been teaching it for a while, and I've been thinking about this the other day. There have probably been about 200 plus firefighters that have taken that rookie class, and out of the 200, probably 98% of them are still in the fire service, whether being a volunteer and or a career member.
Yeah, it does seem like a profession where you stay in it forever, because I know there's some people who are involved in the local fire departments who were there years before I was even born.
Yeah. I'll give you one example. Steve Edgley from Newport City Fire Department. Steve's been here forever.
Right.
And, I can remember starting out and as a young guy, and still Steve was on the Newport City Fire Department then, and he'll tell you that it's, being in the fire service has its ups and downs, but it's a rewarding, we're all volunteers and we all have jobs and everything, but it's just one of those things that it's an awesome feeling.
Well, the one guy I often think of, he's now passed on, but he and his wife were involved in maybe different ways, but Bill Lapierre and his wife from Orleans. My mother went to school with Bill, and she was saying in high school, when the fire alarm went off, if it was on the first floor, he wouldn't even take the door, he'd take the window, and he'd be out on the run to the fire department. Of course, if you knew Bill, you could probably believe that story.
Yep.
And meanwhile, in later years, when I worked for the Chronicle, after his wife got done dispatching everybody, she'd then call up the newspapers and say, "Hey, we got a fire," and they really had a passion for what they did.
Yeah, they were. Bill and his wife were. I guess you could call them legends, and everybody from the area knew that you talked to Orleans Fire Department and you talked to Lapierre's. There's no doubt.
Okay, so with this fundraiser that you're doing this time for Charlie Roberts, what is going on, and do you have any dates?
Well, there's a lot of events that are actually going on. First of all, we're asking for donations of money. Charlie, again, I stated this, but he lost everything in that house, and it's totally tragic. And I'm giving my home address, and I'll give that at the end of the show.
Well, you can give it right now, and then we'll do it later, too. Okay.
It will be to Kurk Flynn at 2355 Leadville Road in Newport Center, 05857. Or you can call me on my cell phone at 323-7590. Any donation was greatly appreciated. We're going to take the money, and it's all going right to Charlie to help him just get through this rough time.
Right. Are you? Is there any meals coming up, dances, or?
There is a ton of events coming, and my cell phone's been ringing off the wall from offers. I know I think Brenda's Restaurant up in Derby is going to be having an event. I haven't got the exact dates yet, but she called me up the next day and offered to do this. There's a ton of events that have already been scheduled at our fire department in Newport Center, and again, I will be in touch with you when I get those exact dates.
Right. And if anybody's on Facebook, they can also follow you on there. There's a lot bad about Facebook. There really is. But there's some things really good about it, like that network, and like you posted it on yours, I then posted it on mine, and then it's like a spider web.
It is, and I put out the call again to my firefighters, and it is. In this case, I'm all pro Facebook, because this is the time when it really does pay off to get the word out. I mean, you put it on and boom, it's out there. And I've got people that are really going to bat just because of what I posted on Facebook, and it's just a tremendous help. And I just hope it works for this cause. So
when you posted it on Facebook, how long was it before the first offer came in?
Believe it or not, I posted it, and then within 20 minutes I had a Phone call from a lady out of New Hampshire, which it just blew me out of the water with the kindness that the people are doing.
Have you had other firefighters come forward from other states that you didn't know?
Yeah, I did actually had some from New Hampshire. I'm a member of a fire notification page, which is New England-wide, and I had a firefighter from New Hampshire call me, and I have no idea. I've never met this individual before, and she is going to send a donation in the mail.
Right. So we only have about 10 more minutes left. What more would you like to say about your cause?
Well, again, the fact that Charlie's a firefighter is why I'm doing this, but the outpour that we're getting from the community is not because he's a firefighter, but because he's a member of our
Right.
fine, the Northeast Kingdom. And I'm putting out the call to everybody in the area, please help us out. Please help Charlie out. He's a great individual who's had a very rough time. He comes from a very good family. I mentioned his dad, Steve, who is, I consider a very, very good friend and I look up to, and his brothers. And he's known throughout the community as being a really nice guy who's had some very tough luck. And I really, really ask in the community to please pitch in. Let's get some money raised up for him, and let's just say, thank you for being a fine member of the community. We are so sorry for what's happened in your, the past year, but we're going to be here for you, and we want you to, turn around and get your house built, and try to get back to, Charlie Roberts and doing what you do. And it's just our way of saying thank you, and we are so sorry.
So when you talk about you need money, how about if somebody doesn't have, they don't have the money to donate, but they want to host a fundraiser or they want to help out with a fundraiser? Should they also contact you?
Yes, please contact me, or again, Colleen Percy at 334-2890. Any fundraisers will help. If people can't donate money, if people, and this is very hard times, and we're all struggling. If it can't donate money, and whatever, if anything, please put Charlie and the community in your prayers and thoughts, and that's worth its weight in gold right there.
The moments like this, when you see people rallying, does it make you proud to be able to call the Northeast Kingdom your home?
Oh, no doubt. I've traveled throughout the whole world, being in the fire service. I've been a career firefighter in New Hampshire, and this is always home. And there was, I was born and raised here. There was always a reason why I came back to the Northeast Kingdom, and when situations like this happen, this is why I do it, because people step up to the plate. We're close-knit. We have our battles, like you stated in the introduction, but when it comes to push and shove, we're all together, and we're going to get through this. And that's why I love being in this area, and that's why I try staying involved, not only in fire service, but as many things as I can, because it's my way to pay back to the community what the community does for us in time of need.
Right. Okay. Just a couple more minutes. Would you like to talk again about how people can contact you? And I'm sure Todd can put it up on the screen too.
Yep. Again, it will be. You can contact me many ways. I'm on Facebook. You just look me up on Facebook, or again, call me at my home, or probably my cell phone would be 323-7590, or you can contact Colleen Percy at 334-2890. I know the other day her answering machine was completely full, but we're doing this because we care for Charlie. He's a great member of our community, and again, whatever anybody can do to help, even if it's not monetary, prayers and thoughts, and let's just pull together and do what we can for him, because he's just a very good individual.
Okay, Kurk, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the show, but also thank you for being an outstanding citizen of Vermont's Northeast Kingdom, and I'd like to thank the viewers for tuning in today. Thanks.